And here we go.
Not very good. And the titles are crooked, you know, and they're not very good. I mean, it was a while.
Jason was a fun interview.
Like
Probably one of the funnest ones. He has so much to say about everything.
His was fun, and the other fun one was Paul and Jeremy's, who's coming up right here. It was great because there was such a contrast. Jason's was so
bitter old man versus
just so well put together. He knew how to conduct himself in an interview, how to speak, and out loud to the microphone and really
project.
Yes, and just tell very long-winded answers and stories, which is great, for an interview. And then
There's the actual video box, in case you're curious. Anyways,
borrowed from Brian Witt, who is one of my friends who has a huge library of skateboard videos that On goes running to way too many times. I feel bad. I think we have like half of his video library now on our shelf. But there's
some great old ads.
But you'll see throughout this whole thing. Paul and Jeremy's interview was actually a ton of fun. It was a complete contrast to Jason's. It was just those two guys in front of the cameras being themselves and being funny, and just being 17-year-old kids or however old they are. And just their attention span and how they answer questions is just completely different. And so and obviously they're the new generation, so we thought it'd be a great.
And here we have the old generation.
Yeah.
Andy Jenkins worked as Spike on a magazine called, originally one called Homeboy in the 80s. It was kind of a skate and youth culture magazine, and then a magazine called Dirt, which was a sort of young men's magazine in the early 90s that didn't last too long. But so they have a long history together.
And then Andy Jenkins was in Milk with Jeff Tremaine, which also has played a part of why we interviewed them. And that just they're friends with Spike too, I take it. And
Jeff works with Spike on Jackass.
And Andy obviously works with Spike at Girl. And they're a cool interview to get.
It was pretty exciting for me because I knew they were really good, but at the same time I was young, so I was kind of like.
And they're in Milk, which is what I was about to say was any kids that don't know is the band that's in Jason's part in the Blind video, which kind of turned into just a
little phenomenon. These are all checkouts from Transworld Skateboarding in the early 90s.
That Spike shot.
And then that was a trick tip there.
Aaron Mesa shot that photo. It was a really cool coincidence. We had done a phone interview with Spike and knew we wanted some sort of imagery to kind of tell that story that we just did a phone interview with Spike because he was busy, and we really didn't know how in the world we were going to get a photo of Spike on the phone, and we're just kind of really just stumbling all over the place trying to get someone to take a photo of him while he's on the phone or something, and I just coincidentally was on the phone with Aaron Mesa, and he told me he had some photos of Spike while Spike was on the phone, and it just worked out perfect. He emailed it over to us right then, and it just worked great. So we owe him a
debt of gratitude.
Yes. And it was actually cool. It was a photo from the last Girl in Chocolate video, the chocolate video, La Vida Loca, I think it was called. When they were working on that, when they were dressed up as all the old men and whatnot. So Aaron shot that photo then. That spot right there is actually right down the street from 4-1, but it's not like that anymore. You can't skate it. They redid the plaza, and there's really not, that rail's not there and those stairs aren't there anymore.
I think they moved the extension cord too.
So I'd like to go back there and try this. Even when that was the case,
to someone holding the light. If you look, it's actually Rudy that was holding the light while Gonz did that rail slide, which I always thought was really cool.
And we'll press record on the frickin' old
you notice
heavy camcorder.
If you saw our last issue, you'll recognize these banks and maybe probably in that same bench from Nodis's part. This is a spot that's
he does that frontside nose grind on it.
Skated forever.
Skateboard history.
Right around the same time.
The double
Which is
side
cool.
curve, the white curve.
Is that on Sunset right there? The 76?
I don't know.
And,
we don't know. But anyways,
we don't know
it
where
wasn't
it is.
3:44 in the morning.
As you see right
But
there.
it was cool to think it was all these years until we asked Ben about it.
Yeah, I was a kid, and even though it's completely backwards, if you look at the footage, I remember being like, yeah, that's awesome, it's Gonz, he's skating at 4 in the morning. Like I always just remember feeling really excited about it. But if you actually look at it, it's 3:45 and it's dark, and then it's like 3:15 or something like that, and it's light or something, so you can actually tell the clock's just wrong, and it is just late afternoon, and they're out filming. It's starting to get dark, but nonetheless. this whole part's funny. It's basically similar to like a maps of the skaters' homes for any kid who's interested where those spots are in downtown LA. If any kid didn't know now, or didn't know, that they will now, that basically everything is within like 1 block of each other.
Of course, you can't go there, but
yeah, it's not gonna do any good. So, as this guy will tell you right here, this is kind of cool. I was just looking desperately for a clip of a security guard or someone getting kicked out of downtown LA or something like that, and I just was running around the building and asked Joe Kralik and Ryan Marcus if they had a clip, if they knew of any clips that, were in the building that maybe 4-1 had of someone getting kicked out. And Joe told me that was just sitting here, which is great. It was literally this security guard telling you not to come to downtown LA, which followed up what Rudy was saying perfectly. So it's pretty cool. It was shot by what's his name? Mike Rafter. That clip was from Mike Rafter. He's standing on a firewire tape for 4-1. So
the dudes.
That graphic right there was completely last minute. Another one of the last minute things in this video. This video was almost 100% done, and we realized we really didn't have that many illustrations from Nodis this time, which kind of sucked. So we watched the issue and just tried to make a couple notes of maybe a couple places that could use an illustration from Nodis, and I just emailed him, and he just gave us that TV. We told him the idea of just at least to try to illustrate that the kids were watching TV and actually watching that part, and so he just drew us that TV, and it turned out great. We didn't have as many illustrations in this issue from Nodis that we'd like to have, but sometimes we have a lot, sometimes we don't. That was one of the only ones this issue.
It was an interesting coincidence, not that it means much, but when they were making this video, it was during the first Gulf War in 1991. And obviously there's some protest footage in there. And then we were editing and conducting interviews for this segment about video days during the second Gulf War. So
much control for a little kid.
Yeah, it just happened to coincide, I guess. But
Paul and Jeremy point that out. It's funny. I think
for 20 years.
They point out the fact that right now there's the exact same group of protesters in front of the federal building in West LA, which is
same signs, same slogans.
It's the same people.
Yeah. So good. That little guy always just have incredible style. What I mean by style also is not just like how he looks on a board, but like deciding what tricks you want to do and be recognized for doing.
Rudy's interview was really cool. It was the first time I had ever met Rudy. He was actually a really nice guy, and really welcoming, and really
just cordial and really open, and really just happy to talk about this, this period, and that he clearly enjoyed a lot, and appreciates having been a part of.
Guy was actually supposed to show up, or not supposed to, but potentially was going to show up. Rudy said that he had spoken to Guy, and Guy told Rudy that he would stop by if he had time or something along those lines. And so we shot Rudy's interview and kind of waited around for a little bit and chit-chatted with him, and gave Guy a call, but just never heard back from him. So it was kind of one interview that just slipped through, where Gonz didn't want to do an interview.
Yeah, he's more focused on he's working on a Crooked video right now, and Mark, I think one of the reasons why Mark is who Mark is because he's really focused on the here and now and what he's doing, and he's not, he doesn't dwell on his past accomplishments. And
I think what he said put it best. It's just he's trying to look forward and not back. He likes on video, but just doesn't want to look back at the blind video at this point, and his focus was on Crooked in their video. So it was cool. You
look at a guy like Mark, and he's been contributing and helping change skateboarding, for
Jordan was
almost,
he was fun to skate with because he was very
18,
laid back and
almost 20 years going now, and 'cause, when he came onto the scene in the mid 80s that I remember.